everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going together solve the daily LeetCode problem. And so for our today problem, I think that this problem is quite difficult in terms of the intuition, and yeah, it is hard to recognize the observation because it is the weekly contest problem. So that's why sorry, this one is a bi-weekly contest, and that's why I think it is tricky. But normally when we have the problem related to the weekly contest, and then it is not too difficult to implement. However, that is difficult for us to come up with the solution or strategies to solve the problem. Yeah, so let's start. And so I will explain in very easy way for us to understand. And then so let's say that I have the array that is the 1, 4, 4, 5, 5, and 5, for example. This example is like it is more general, and then somehow like we can understand it like better than the this example here. So let's say that we still have the k that equal to 1 and the number of the operation that is to 2. Okay, so our question in here is that like how can we find the maximum frequency of the number? And then we have the choice in here that like we can add any number with the k or like we subtract the value of k, or like add the value of k to any value in the number, but we can do it only once for each number in the nums. Yeah, so in here like we can see that like because that is the frequency, right? And then firstly we just transform it into the frequency, and then to transform it into the frequency we have to, I think that we have two main strategies. The first one is to use the hash map, and the second one is like we still can use the array, and then the index of the array will represent for the number. For example, in here I have the index 0, and then there is no 0 value in the array, so in here the frequency of 0 is 0. And then like let's say that 1, right? And then from 1 we have the 1 element in the array, that is 1. And then 2, 0, right? And then 3 we still have 0. And 4 we have 2, 4. And for the 5 we have 3, 5, for example. This one is the index 4, and this one is for the index 5. Okay, so this one is for the frequency. And then so how can we find the logic to find the max frequency of one element? Let's say that in here I have 4. Okay, so let's say that how can we find the frequency for each element? Let's say that for now we want to find the frequency for the number 4, for example. And then so we know that like we can add or we can subtract the value of k, right? So it means that any number in the range of 4 minus k, or 2 the 4 plus k, all of the value in this range or in this interval, it can convert to the 4, right? It means that any kind of the interval in here we always can subtract or add that value to the 4, I mean to that number, to become the 4. Let's say that like in here we have the k equal to 1, right? And then that interval will become 3 to 5, right? So it means that like in this range, and then we can add 3 by 1 and then we get 4, or we can subtract 5 to 1 and then we get 4, right? Okay, so that is the first thing. However, like in here we are trying to find how many elements in this interval. Okay, because of that question we need to go back to the frequency in here, and then here we use the prefix-sum, right, to find the number of the elements in this interval, right? So for now we will update the frequency using the prefix-sum. So in here we have 0, right? We have the 1, we have the 1, we have 1, we have 3, and here we have 6, right? Okay, so this is the index 3 and this one is the index 5. How can we find the value, which is like how many elements between the 3 and 5 we have? So in here like we just simply subtract 6 by 1 here, right? And then we can see that this one is a 6 minus 1, and it means that we have 5 elements. And how about these 5 elements? This 5 elements is 3 value of 5 and 2 value of 4. Okay, so it means that in here we know that, for example, we are considering the 4, right? And then we know that like frequency of 4, we have 2 4. And then the value for the rest, it means that for both 3 and 5, I mean other elements, except for that they are 3. It means that in this interval, except 2 value of 4 we have in the array, and then we can have up to 3 elements which can be converted to 4. However, we need to consider another things, that is the operation. Okay, so how many operations in here we have? We only have 2 operations. It means that like in this interval, we only can transform 2 elements to the 4, right? So from here, somehow like we can have the, I mean, logic to calculate how many elements for the 4. Okay, so in here, like let's say that this one is the frequency of the 4, and then so that would be like the frequency of 4 plus what? Plus mean, right? Mean of what? Number of the operation. And then another thing that let's say let's call this 5 is a total, and here we have the total minus what? Minus frequency, right? Frequency of 4. Okay, so let me write it down, and then we will have more space. And here like we see the frequency of 4 plus the mean between the operation and the total, and then we subtract by the frequency of 4, right? So here operation here, let's say that in this case we are trying to get the maximum frequency of 4. So in here like we can see that this one is what? This one is 2, right? It is from here. And okay, so we plus with the mean between 2 here, we have the 2, right? And then the total, that is the 5, it will minus to the frequency of 4, right? It means that we are trying to get this number. Okay, 3. And then we will have 4, right? This one will result in 2. And then 2 and 2 here, we have the 4. Okay, so it means that like we just need to iterate through any kind of the elements in the array. Let's say that we will iterate through 1, we iterate through 2, we iterate when we iterate to the 5, and then we can see that like this one can be constructed with the frequency of 5, right? And then this one would be the return value. Okay, so let's implement it, and then I don't think that like the logic is too difficult. Let's say that we expect to find the max value. We need to find the max value, right? And because of the max value, we can get the array of the frequency, and here like max value will be the maximum number of nums, and then plus k plus 1. 1 in here is for the first element, which is the 0 element. But we don't consider this element because all of the num in here that is greater than 1, right? So it means that we don't need to consider the value of 0. Yeah, so that is the first thing. The second one, for now we will initialize the frequency array. For now I will call it that is a count, and then here that would be initialized with the value of 0, and then we get multiply it with the max val, and then so here we just need to get the 4 num in nums, and then like the count of the num would be equal 1, right? So for now we have the frequency. So for now we have this frequency. Yeah, so and then so in this one we can construct this frequency, but we didn't have the uh, prefix sum here. So for now we will get the prefix sum for I in range of we will get it from 1, right? And then max val, and here like we get the count of I will be equal to the count of I minus 1. Okay, so here like we have the prefix sum array, this one we have the prefix sum array. And then so for now like we get the okay, so for now we are ready to implement the logic. So here like let's say that we will initialize the value as the red val, which is equal to 0, and then like we will iterate in the range from 1 to the max val. And then in this one we will do the things like we will get the left at the max between the 0 and then I minus k, right? This one will give us the left boundary, and then also we can calculate the right boundary, which is the mean between the max val and the I plus k, right? Sorry, this one is max val minus 1, because max val in here, that is the length of the array we have here. Yep, so here like for the we need to adjust the left boundary a little bit, and then let's say that the left valve that would be equal to the 0 if the left equal to 0, because like if that is like the things like our bound, right? And then we just give it the 0 value, and otherwise it would be like the count of the left minus 1. Okay, so in here like how many elements we have in the interval? That would be the counts of the right and then minus the left out. Okay, so here like for the frequency of the current element, so we just need to get the count I minus the count of I minus 1, right? Because as the logic we have in here, and then two consecutive, I mean like the subtraction between the two consecutive number. Let's say that in here we have the number 4, right? And then the subtraction between the 3 and 1 in here will give us the frequency of 4. Okay, so in here like we can see that like a subtraction between two consecutive numbers can give us the frequency of the existing one. Okay, so and then we get the red val, which is equal to the max between the red val and the frequency plus the mean of the number of operations and the total minus the frequency. And then here like we can just return the red val. Okay, all right, so just submit it. Yeah, so I think that so many people have the same solution like us. Yeah, so I think that all the things for our today tutorial, I mean like the problem. And then so yeah, again, thank you so much for watching my video. And if you like and if you want to support me to have, I mean just motivations for me to do more videos for you guys in the future, please give me a comment or like or subscribe. I mean that is the only motivations for me, and then that is the yeah my happiness to do the video and explain the approach for you guys. Yeah, again, thank you so much for watching my video, and see you next time.